I was standing there for more than 6 hours in the burning sun. I was burning alive, but when I saw the result on the back of the monitor, there were some tears. I'm just starting or working on a podcast as well. And one of my motivations is because in this hat is a lot of knowledge. And I don't want to keep it for myself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Photographer Profile. My name is Nathan Rupert, and I started this channel to give photographers a worldwide platform to share their work and stories. My guest today is John. Hey, John, how are you doing?
Hello. Good afternoon at your place, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 4 a.m. where you're at right now. I really appreciate you waking up early and doing this podcast.
Yes, the other side of the
today.
world.
Please give everybody watching an introduction about yourself and your photography.
My name is John Baggen, photographer since 1977. Yes, photography is what I do, is what I can, is my passion. It's where I live for, and yeah, that's my actually the most important thing in my life. It's my profession, it's my hobby, it's actually everything I am.
Where are you located exactly, just for those people wondering?
Yes, to be clear, I'm Dutch, but I'm living in Spain, in the south of Andalusia. And yeah, that's the point from where I'm traveling and I'm doing my work.
Okay. Before we get to your picture showcase, do you have any hobbies you enjoy outside of photography by any chance?
Yes, actually, next to that, I'm like to play guitar, make some music with friends, and that kind of things.
I should have asked you to bring your guitar to give us a couple tunes.
A different cake.
Let's get to your picture showcase here. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. 1 second. Just go ahead and give us the background on this photo and why you chose to feature it.
Yes, what actually happened here, it was in September. I traveled from Spain down to Mongolia, and there was sometimes these eagle hunters, what we see here, they are famous and well known about this tradition. But what we did is that actually we traveled to Mongolia to make a documentary behind the scenes of the eagle hunters. So we want to know a little bit the world behind it, how they train the dogs, how they do that in their daily life. And on the end of this period of 3 weeks, finally there was this eagle festival, what we're seeing here, and the eagles, they're presenting themselves. The hunters, they're presenting themselves with the horses and the birds, and they're showing you actually their profession. And yeah, it's nice because Mongolia is very wide. You have always clean backgrounds. There are no houses, no roads, no cars.
Makes that nice for a photographer, right? With a clean background in all
your
pictures.
And then sometimes you need a little bit of luck. What I think is very strong in this image are the two white horses in the middle, almost in the middle. They're bringing a little bit of depth into the picture. And what I also see is that they are very happy. When you're looking on the hunter on the white horse with a big smile, everybody is joining this event. Yeah, that's what they love. That's what they live for. And they're full dressed. I was thinking it was just for the event. But when you meet them at the house, they are full dressed as well. It was a very wonderful journey.
What platforms is this documentary going to show up on, or what TV?
I do this for clients.
Shows?
I do this for clients, and they most of the time using it for travel guides or that kind of things.
Okay, interesting. What was the biggest cultural surprise for you in Mongolia that really shocked you, the biggest cultural difference?
It didn't actually shock me, but it surprised me, and it was actually the hospitality of the people. It's unbelievable how, when you're going into a yurt, it's this kind of tent where they're living in. You don't have to knock the door. You can just step inside, and there's everything what you need. There's food. They have the wonderful tea. They're making the tea with milk and salt and butter in it. It's sometimes a little bit, you think, oh, what are they doing? But when you taste it, it's wonderful. They had the best cheese, the best butter. They're totally self-supporting. So they have
Wow.
their livestock, the goats and the sheep and the cows for the milk. They're using everything. Really, they're using everything. Mongolia doesn't have woods, so they don't have wood for the fire. So they're drying actually the cow and they drying it during the whole season for wintertime. And when wintertime is coming, then they have to put this in the fire to heat the houses. They eating the meat, they're using the skins, they're using the bones, everything is used. There's nothing spoiled. There was something quite surprising because we lost that. We lost that. We just go to the supermarket and we buy and we throw the package away, and you have the feeling when you come inside that you know these people already before.
That sounds like amazing, amazing experience. Wow. Was that your first time
Mongolia,
there, or you've been there?
Mongolia was
Yeah.
was the first time, but I can tell you I'm going back in March because we visit them in the yurts, where they're living in the tents, and they're living 3 million people in Mongolia. 1.5 million are living in Ulaanbaatar, which is the capital of Mongolia, and the rest is spread over the countries. I think now already today it's minus 23 degrees.
Wow.
They're moving from their tents to the small houses, just a winter shelter, you can call it. And in this shelter, they were collecting to heat the fire. They were collecting the horse shit and the hay. They're bringing it during the season. They're bringing it to this winter shelter, and then they can stay as long as they have hay for the sheep and for the cows. And these nomads, they're moving and moving and moving. Next thing I want to do is in March, going back, and then I'm going to shoot how they make this journey from the winter shelter back to the yurts. I'm very curious what is going to happen. We have to organize a little bit of production team because that's quite heavy. And you have to wear different type of clothes when it's minus 23 and then moving in the snow. That will be something else.
My goodness. Well, let's take a look at your next picture here. Let me get it ready real fast.
What I try to do here is to show the whiteness of the landscape. What you see in the middle are about 1,500 sheep. It's amazing to see. What I got as a little bit of extra is because there were some clouds, and that makes it, you have the shadows on the hillside, then you have the sun on the hillside, and this variation of light. This was fascinating me. When you want to explain to people the whiteness of the landscape, you need some references. This is particularly the picture that I like because of the clouds. You don't even see the clouds, but they give me this contrast and the different shapes of the mountains and the light.
It feels like we're in an airplane looking down at little humans, when you fly over your
Yes,
city or something like that.
when you see this picture for the first time, you can even recognize it as sheep. It is the photographer who knows it.
Before we go to your next photo, a couple questions for you. What is the best piece of photography advice you've been given from a mentor or that you've learned throughout your career that you can pass on to anybody watching this episode?
I have these quotes, and one of my quotes is, find your spot, be on time, and stay until you're totally satisfied. The bridge in Sydney, I went 2 days before without a camera, just to do some pre-shoots with a small thing. And then I was looking for, what is my angle? What is the sun doing? At what time is it going down? And then you know exactly, okay, this is the best moment to shoot. When you are in a rush and in a hurry, you don't come relaxed behind your camera, and you need to be solid for what you want to do. Find your spot, be on time. Then the most important thing is stay till you're totally satisfied. Because when you're coming back to your studio and you seeing your work on your screen, and then you think, I should have stayed a little bit longer because, And then there are some reasons why you should stay a little bit longer. Then every time when you see this photo, you're thinking about a quarter of an hour what you should have been staying longer. You don't be happy.
Yeah, my rule is when you shoot the sunset, get there at least 45 minutes to an hour beforehand. Because sometimes you can get even great pictures before that sunset happens with the light breaking through the clouds. And I always stay like an hour after the sunset to see what other light might unexpectedly
Yes.
appear.
See, well, as a photographer, isolate yourself, concentrate yourself, look into the spot, measure the light, put your camera on manual, toy with the tools you have in your camera. Feel a little bit challenged by the light, fighting with the light, moving a little bit aside to get more backlight. What is it what I'm measuring on the highlights? What is what I'm measuring on the shadows? What is it what I'm going to do? That is from the time, because 1977 is a long time ago. That's from the time that you were working on a film. Nothing to do with clicking, because one film was about, what do we say, $15 or something like that?
Yeah.
36 shots. You're not spoiling your materials. Concentrate.
Yeah.
Try to think there is a film in your camera and don't even shoot like a fool.
Yeah.
Be concentrated on what you're doing. Create an image. Thinking about what is my light, what is my position, what is the lens I'm choosing, what is what I want to show, what is the message I want to spread out with the photo you're shooting.
Let me get your next picture ready here. This is a close-up of one of the hunters there.
This one is for me very special because during the weeks that we're staying with him, there's something happening between us. There you get a little bit of friendship, and he was just sitting there relaxed with his bird, and he was like we petting a dog. It's they live with this eagle, and they are one. It's an incredible story when you listen to the background of this eagle hunting, comparing it with an Indian with a bow and arrow. He also said to me, "You're a hunter as well. I using the eagle, and you are using your camera." And then you see him patting this bird. This is a special moment, nose to nose. This shows the relationship between the hunter and the eagle. When I was posting some photos on Instagram, what I was doing during the time that I was in Mongolia, there were people that giving me small comments, and they say they feel sorry for the bird and all that kind of things. Always these kind of people are also there. This is Kazim, the master hunter, and he's my age, so that was something that gave us a small feeling of a bond. And I was talking to him about this. They catching these birds from the nest. There are two different ways. They catching a bird alive. They just when it's flying somewhere in a particular way, they're catching it, or they climb the mountains and they stealing this bird from the nest. Then they start training. When they catch it as a young and they train it and they learn how to hunt, after 6 years, they're leaving the bird free. They need their freedom, and they just work with them for 4, 5, or 6 years. You have to imagine.
Interesting.
You have a dog and you start loving this dog, and you're walking every day with this dog, and you're talking to the dog, and he's listening to you, and he's looking you in your eyes. What is going through your mind? You have this relationship with your dog. Then after 4 years, he said, okay, now you go and take your freedom, saying goodbye to something you love that much. And the way they treat the birds and they work with it, he was telling me that when an eagle gets old, his claws get weak, his beak gets weak, the bird feels my end is coming. This bird starts flying higher and higher and higher and higher, and then he stopped and he just commit suicide. He just dropped down and he's finished.
Oh my gosh.
I was doing a little bit of fact checking, but all the eagle hunters were explaining me the same kind of story. This picture shows the warm relationship between the hunter and the eagle.
This photo is amazing. This is very intense. And the eagle doesn't have any type of protection or beak covering or anything. It's just raw
Yeah.
right there, right next to him. One quick question before we look at your next photo. What do you want to happen to all these pictures you've taken when you die, when you're no longer here? Have you ever thought about it? Like your legacy, all these photos you've taken all these years?
There are about, I think, 250,000 slides.
Wow.
And negatives. And it's about now about a 20 terabyte of digital stuff. I'm very careful documenting. My archive is accessible for everyone. It's clear.
Oh.
To be honest, I wasn't really thinking about it. I think maybe my children, they will take care of it, or I don't know.
How do people access your archive? Is it online somewhere, or?
My archive, I have it's on a server and a backup server, and all the slides and negatives, they are nicely in books on a shelf.
Okay.
With the year on it. And when it was the analog archive, it was me who knows exactly in all these books where is what. When somebody is calling me after 7 years, do you have still the negatives of this and this shot? I'm thinking, okay, that was in 1984, and that was before.
Oh gosh.
That was before summer, and I was there, and I guess it's in this one, and then just grabbed the book, and most of the time, it was me who was the only guy who knows where to find something. But now in the digital time, you just have to search by keyword. When you want to find my photos of the eagle hunters in about 10 years, then hopefully you just ask me, and but when I'm not there anymore, you just type the keywords, and then it will select, and you will find what you need, whatever you need. That's quite something. Your question is quite confronting. I'm just starting or working on a podcast as well. One of my motivations is because in this hat is a lot of knowledge, and I don't want to keep it for myself. I want to spread out. That's why I'm teaching for years on the Academy of Art, teaching photography next to my work. And it's because I want to spread the knowledge. I want to have somebody has something from it. I have these colleagues, you're talking to them and they show you a picture. Whoa, amazing. What did you do there? How did you get this result? Then they start being very protective, and they don't spread the news. Right. They want to keep it for themselves. I'm far, far away from that. You can ask me every question. I can tell you every single detail how to shoot, because it's not mine. I learned it during the years. There is a small light on the horizon, and that is that my 8-year-old grandson, he loves photography. And
great. That's awesome.
I go with him, and when I can have him next to me, I give him another Nikon camera, and he is walking with, and he's doing nice things. He is not just shooting, he's looking for a subject, and he's nicely making it nice. He said to me, Granddad, you have to keep on going for the next 10 years, and then I'm taking over.
Gosh.
But there is some hope.
That's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure for
yes.
to take over. Let's look at your next photo. We have a lot to get through here.
It's a surprise what is coming up now.
That's part of the fun, you know? There we go. A great portrait. Speaking of passing on knowledge. Right?
Yes. That's one of the deeper backgrounds of this photo. Because in this interview I had with Kaisim, I asked him the question, actually the same one as you asked me just now. What is going to happen with your profession, with this cultural thing? He learned it from his father and his grandfather, and he is teaching it to his son and his grandson. He was not afraid that this culture way of hunting will disappear. It is his personal mission to keep it alive. I asked him to do a portrait, and it was actually growing a bit. I did a portrait of him then this little guy came in, and then he had some clothes as well in the same style as Granddad. And here you can see the proudness of Kazim. He's proud of his son. I tried to catch the proudness of grandfather who was sitting there, and you can see it, you can read it from his eyes, illustrating that the next generation is coming up.
Did you use a off-camera flash, or what kind of setup did you have for this shot? You had a flash.
There's one thing
on this one.
I do not have a flash. I never ever use it. It's spoiling the photo. What I'm doing, I'm carrying these small let go lights, the strip lights, and with some lithium batteries for working in the field. And there is one on the left hand side. When you look into the photo, it's one on the left hand side that gives a little bit warm light on the left hand side of Kazim's face. The main light is the daylight coming from the rooftop.
And interesting.
On the left hand side there is this let go strip light. Very easy to carry. They're not heavy.
Let's take a look at your next one here. A little different than the previous ones. This is a very cool landscape shot.
This is the one I was talking about in Morocco, in Ouarzazate.
Okay.
Where I went. This is the result I shot when I go back and I took the time to find my spot and to wait for the light. It would be nice when we can compare it to the first one.
Okay, let me get that. Okay, this is number one. This is number one.
This is number
right here.
Yes, exactly. Of course, you see it's one color of green, no highlights. Maybe I did a little bit in Photoshop, a little bit of saturation in the greens. But you see the Kashba, the buildings, yeah, that's just flat. It's like a pancake. And there's nothing. There's nothing happening.
Yeah.
When you compare this to the number two, then you exactly understand what the reason was that I flew back and to shoot it again.
All right, let me open number two back.
Yeah,
this is number two back.
Yes, then I don't have to comment it. That's clear.
What is this exactly? Is this like a palace?
They call it a Kasbah. That is the place where the people live in the past. It's from the 7th century. I know there are a lot of famous movies were recorded there, and I always forget. I know Lawrence of Arabia is one of the movies. Some shots they did there. The Game of Thrones, which is more from these days, was shot there. It's incredible. You feel the history when you're walking through it. You can walking on top of the hill. At this moment, there was a little bit of water in a small river in the front. So that was something I got extra.
Let me share this one. This is a cool long exposure shot you sent. You want me to share the before first? It's one of that building that you sent me. Do you want me to share the before we look at the after?
But from this building?
Yeah, from that building.
The before first.
Okay, so this is the quote unquote before picture here.
This is a story. We had this Bosnian war in the Balkans. This was a building what meant to be a bank. When this building was finished and they were ready to start using the building as an office, then the war came and it was taken over by the snipers. And they were hiding in this tower and they were shooting and getting a reward from out of this tower to all the people who tried to cross in the street. Very sad story. They left the building as it was because it's almost become a monument of remembering the war, the Bosnian War. This building was taken over by some artists. You see the most wonderful graffitis and art in the building when you have the guts to climb in it. But I was thinking, this is quite a big gray, nothing building. I want to do something extra with it. What I'm using is a Mac light, just a Mac light. I do a long shutter for about 5 minutes, close myself totally in black, and I go with the flashlight, I put the camera open and I walk through the building, and then I start painting actually with my flashlight, strip lights. If there was, if the building was lighted by the government, or they said, okay, we put this building and we give it a nice light. This is what happened in the second one, in the second photo.
Okay, let me share the second one, then, so people can see. Here is the second one that you lit up.
Yes.
Then
now you see this stripes of light. I just move with like a pencil with paint. I just moving with the MAC light, but you have to keep on moving. When you stop moving, it will burns out in white. Of course, I did some tryouts to figure out how long should be the shutter time and how many times I have to paint with the MAC light. And of course, there were also too dark, too light, and this one came out as the best.
And you were painting from across the street, it looks like.
Yes,
right?
I'm standing there.
The light.
You see this lights of the car in the left corner, which looks like a Z.
Yeah.
And there I was standing. That was the spot.
Oh, that's where you're standing.
And then I'm moving 5 meters towards the camera for the next one, and then 10 meters for the next one, and then spread a color filter on top of the MAC light. In the middle, you see this orange. I'm using a little bit different color filter on the MAC light, because otherwise it will be boring and too white. You can't see me because I'm totally dressed in black and I'm moving. My camera is not registering myself.
You've taken so many pictures. Is there a dream shot that you want to take that you haven't taken yet? A dream shot in your mind that you still need to take?
Difficult question. I don't have the answer. I don't know.
I know you get inspired a lot just by being in certain situations.
Yes, there are some things that I think, oh, this would be nice, but I cannot tell you exactly. There's one on my bucket list on top of it.
Okay, it's fine. You don't have to have one. I was just curious. What do you see as the future of photography in like 10, 20, 30 years? How do you see photography evolving with technology?
This is exactly there's a little bit of my mission. I want to keep photography alive as a profession. And we are living now in a kind of tsunami of iPhone photography. And even when AI is doing a lot of things with your mobile photos, but I want to keep it alive. That is a profession. That it's working with light. That is working with aperture. It's working with camera speed. It's working with different lenses, with a wide angle or a tele or whatever. Having these tools, creating an image. When you're creating an image, you're looking to the light and you make your choices. What kind of lens I'm going to use? What will be my angle? Where's my light? This is for me my mission, but I know for sure that I'm going to lose it. When you're talking about 10, 20 or 30 years,
yeah,
then there's no way that we can keep it the way it was. The nice thing is that I see colleagues, they are going back to the darkroom. They're just doing this for pleasure, for joy. Take an analog camera, start working. All these modern features we get presented by Adobe in Photoshop, when you go to the Gaussian blur or these kind of filtering things they provide you to do they all have their history in the darkroom. When I was softing, when I was enlarging a photo in the darkroom, I had a small plate of glass, put some cream on it, just make it, how do you say it? With Vaseline. I was making it on the glass, and then in the center, I cleaned it totally, that it was nice and clean. I hold it under the lens of the enlarger, and then just move it up and down, and move it a little bit like this, because the clear part, there was the sharpness, and then the softening was around it. These are all techniques. These all techniques that you can find in Photoshop. And when there was no analog photography, they didn't came on the idea to provide you with this kind of tools. It all finds its history there. Now you see it in when you take your iPhone. You have three lenses. You can shoot on portrait, and then you get a nice blur background. And but people don't even know how this is created. What is the reason why you shoot and make your aperture as open, as wide as possible to get an unsharp background so that you can isolate your subject from your background. All these things, they going through your mind as a professional photographer or as a hobby photographer who takes his work serious. Then
right, sometimes you want to keep some of the background to give context to the subject, maybe not totally blur out the entire background. You want to keep a little bit of the background to provide context of where that subject is at, location and stuff like that. So,
but it's
yeah.
a decision. It's a decision you
Yeah.
make before you start shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm coming back home from a particular journey. I put some highlights in a folder because people always asking, "Hey, tell me, what did you saw? What did you shoot? Can you show me something? Do you have?" I open my iPhone and I show them the picture. Then they start swiping, swipe, swipe. So the hours it took me to shoot, they just with the finger they're moving and they don't even look. And then what is happening? They're swiping. And then they're looking me in the face and, oh, that's nice. Yes. They don't even look at the photo. They just keep on swiping, and they pass the two most wonderful pictures without even looking. So it makes it.
You miss the details. They miss those little details.
They miss the whole story. They're just swiping and passing and the millions. And this is how people look to photography. There are millions and millions are shot, and they're all on iPhones and stocked in copies of iCloud backups and whatever, and nobody ever looks at it again. I think an iPhone is a nice tool to photograph when you're out with the family and when you are a tourist and you're traveling and you don't want to carry a camera. I'm fine with it. I don't blame people who use a phone to shoot photos. But the thing is, with my Nikon, I cannot call somebody. You see? Yeah. With my iPhone, I can make photos and I can call somebody. With my Nikon, I cannot call somebody.
Yeah.
That's my mission.
Okay, well, let's...
Spreading the knowledge and keeping photography.
That is a noble... Yeah. That is a noble mission. I'll agree with you there. Okay, let's take a look at this one. It's an animal shot. It's very good timing on this one here.
This one is shot on the island of Bonaire, which is one of the Caribbean islands. In the past belongs to the Netherlands. It was my shooting list. There were the pelicans, and this one is very special for myself because I had this picture in mind before I even jump into the plane. I want to shoot a pelican on the moment that he is touching the water with his beak. And I can tell you, this is shot by hand with the 800 millimeter.
800, wow.
With the 800, and I can tell you, to be honest, I think I shot maybe 100. And all the time it was too early, too late. The shape of the bird was not satisfying. What you see is the water is splashing because it's hitting the rocks. Then you get all the water drips. Then I have to look, where is the bird gonna land? Because you see the bird flying. He is circling above you. When you see the fish, he, like an arrow, he goes pew, and he hits the water. Yeah. On those days, my son was assisting me. I was standing there for more than 6 hours in the burning sun. My son was standing under a tree, and once in a while he came with a wet towel to put over my shoulder because I was burning. I was burning alive. And I can confess, when I saw the result on the back of the monitor, and there was some tears. I was.
Good thing you had an assistant there, a nice assistant.
Yes, but I was so happy when I finally succeed in what I had in mind. This is what I tried to explain before. Try to imagine what you want to shoot. Think about it. Make a kind of, you don't have to write it on a piece of paper, but make some guidelines, what you want to do, where you want to find, where do you want to stand, what is the spot, what is what you want to bring back as a result. When I almost had it, then every time I see this almost photo, I think it's just almost. It's not what I had in mind. It's just I almost did it. But no, I want to go for, I want to have this number one position, and I want to stand there and have the patience, and yes, it's always the little bit of suffering makes the image even better for yourself.
True. Very true.
There's this in this Bob Marley lyrics. There's one line that tells you that the stronger the battle, the sweeter the victory. This is one of the photos what is illustrating this line.
I like that. That's a good quote. One more question. One final question for you. You've traveled all over the world. Any wild or crazy stories you can think of? Anything unexpected happened to you that you haven't already shared on all these trips you've taken?
Ending up at a police station or something like that. The people.
Oh, you got put in jail?
Not for long, but when you are traveling in Africa and they put your car aside and they take all your equipment inside, and they're telling you people who are traveling with this kind of equipment are funny people, and there were the scary moments that you just have to try and keep calm and negotiate a bit and explain that you're actually a nice guy and that nobody has to fear anything from me. We stopped by a policeman, and as it goes, he took the driver license from our driver, and then he walked behind a small bush, and he was negotiating with the driver, and there came some tension, and I know exactly what is going to happen. This policeman tells to this driver, "You have this Tubabu, this white man in the car. Ask him some money and give it to me, and then I give you the license back." This is what definitely what is going to happen. And I just tried to get eye contact with the policeman, and I just yelled out of the window. I said, "Not one penny. Not one penny." And then he realized, okay, this is not going to work. This guy has a travel experience. He is not impressed. And then he came back to the car, and in the trunk of the car, we had a crate of Guinness. I opened the trunk of the car, and I give the policeman a bottle of Guinness because he was standing there in the hot sun. And he said, no, sir, I'm in duty. Give it to the driver. So he allows the driver to drink a bottle of beer while he must drive. He didn't accept. These are these stories. Stay calm. Just stay calm. In the police station, you see that they're grabbing into your bags. They're putting everything aside. They're looking for things and what they don't going to find. But that was not a nice experience.
Have you ever been robbed or attacked by someone?
Yes.
Before?
Yes. This happened also in Africa. A remarkable story. I was trusting too much, I think. I left my flight case with the cameras. I had the camera on me, and I left the flight case in the Jeep. And when I came back, 2 lenses were stolen.
Oh.
And what happened then, it was that the people who invited us to their house, they were shocked. They were really shocked that somebody took my materials in front of their house. All of a sudden, he went to the radio station, and it was announced on the radio station that somebody has robbed the photographer, and everybody who has information, he should call a particular number. I said, we're never going to see these lenses again. We went back to the camp, and all of a sudden, this older son of that family came the day after and said, "You have to come to our village because the lenses are back." But
wow, amazing.
But what was very important, I need to sit in front of the hut, and I have to look that these materials were not coming out of their hut, but from somebody across. They were thinking that I blamed this family, that they steal
Oh,
from
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Over the night, what happened was that the elder people from the village, they sitting together and they're clearing this situation very nice. And then at the end of the day, I got my lenses back. Never expecting that.
Wow, that is a good story.
Yes.
Thank you.
Pronounced on the radio.
Well, I think that's all the photos that I had lined up to share, and we're kind of running out of time here. Any final thoughts? What's the best way for people to contact you? Instagram, your website? How do you prefer people reach out to you?
Go to my website. I'm rebuilding it, but you can find my contact details, johnbaggen.com, or follow me on Instagram or something like that. Then you know exactly where I'm hanging out for the next one. The next one is Vietnam, which it's gonna happen, I think, in the beginning of January. Then in summer there's Alaska. I'm coming to Dallas in February to the Image 2025.
Dallas, Texas.
Yes, there's this photography fair. I'm invited to show up there, and so when American people want to meet me, come and see me at the Image.
There you go.
25. Yes, and then in August, awesome. July, August, September, something, there's Alaska on the list. So still busy.
Your passport must be just booked with
full of stamps. Full of stamps.
Is there any countries you haven't been to?
Yes, a lot. There are some on the list. Yes. I saw yesterday, I was talking to one of my friends in the Netherlands. He just came back from a journey with his bike, and he was in Chile. In the south of Chile, he showed me a video. There was a production company who was shooting. They were with a group of, I think, 20 bikers, and with drone cameras, and a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. And I said, "Oh, that's a nice spot as well." But I've never been in Chile.
There you go.
Yeah, the time is. I'm 66 now, so I need to be quick to do all the other ones.
Yeah, you need to get like a world map on your wall and just put pins in it or something.
Pins, yes.
Something like that. That'd
be
cool.
Yes. But that's not the goal. It's the photography. What is the goal? It's not the pins on the map.
Well, thank you so much for waking up so early and doing this podcast. I appreciate your time, and
thank you for having me.
Have a good night.
I go for a cup of coffee today. Yes.
I love Spain. I've been to
now. Oh, it's half past 4. Yes, in the morning.
I've been to Barcelona, Madrid, Sevilla, Granada. I love Spain. I hope to go back there again.
Yes. Whenever you're someday. In the neighborhood, give a call.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a good night. Bye.